Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Women's Rugby Show weekly podcast with me, Sam. By the way, well, once again, we'll be taking a look at the PWR. In this week's episode, we'll be hearing from Bristol Bears and Jas Joyce-Butchers and Dave Ward talking a little bit about Jas's return to 15s and also Reneeqa Bonner having a little bit of a stint over in sevens with the GB Sevens camp in Gibraltar this week. We'll be talking to Loughborough Lightning, Nathan Smith, their head coach, and also Crosscode Fran Goldthorp as she returns to 15s from Rugby League. And finally, we'll be hearing from the Sale Sharks camp with Nick James and Catie Benson ahead of their trip to London and Harlequins this weekend. Before we get into this episode, make sure you like this video if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a like if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts too. And also don't forget to check us out across all social medias. If you don't know that, let's get into this one. Just a couple of quick ones from you. You kind of mentioned fine margins then in terms of that game, but we're kind of starting to see the fine margins when the PWR at the moment. Obviously, Chiefs beating Saracens, Quins beating yourselves, Sale pushing Gloucester close. Just how nice is that to see? Obviously disappointing for yourselves, but how nice is it to see the league growing like that?
No, I mean, look, Sam, I think it's great, and look, it does come up the back of a loss for us, and that's obviously not ideal. But the fact that the games you'd have predicted at the weekend was probably us to beat Quins, and Saracens to beat Exeter, and all of a sudden those games are turning upsets. You wouldn't have predicted Sale Gloucester 7-7 at half time. So I think it's amazing for the league. It shows the competitiveness of it. The fact that we've suffered a loss at the back of it's not ideal. However, we are 4 games in. If it's 14 games in, I think, you're probably sitting in front of somebody else because I've probably got a sack. But as I said, 4 games. Look, we've got enough time to get back. But we all know after this week, there's 5 games before Christmas for us, and that's massive. 25 points on offer. That's half the points you'd probably need to get into that top 4.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned Leicester's exciting kind of back three talent. Obviously, you could see the link up between your back three with Jas and Millie David for that try, which has been nominated for try of the week again. Just how nice it's to see that kind of link up play between those back three at the moment.
Yeah, and it's great. And I think the one thing I will say is that they are getting better and better because Jas, I said to Jas probably a couple of years ago, she probably wouldn't have passed that ball. This year she's come in, you've seen her again, she's got player of the week and the team has lost at home. And I think her stats speak for herself, 10 defenders beaten. But the delay on the pass to Millie David was probably more impressive than the finish. I mean, obviously Millie's very quick and she's a great finisher. But as I said, the ball from Jas was probably more impressive and the shape we ran before to get there. Probably we scored too early because we thought, okay, we're going to score every time like that. And that's probably one of the downfalls of the game. But like I said, our back three, obviously Reneeqa now going away with GB Sevens as well, which was a great little accolade for her. But we've got some opportunities to bring people in as well, which is really exciting. And for us, it's something we want to keep developing.
I was actually just about to ask you about Reneeqa. I spotted that on Instagram this morning. Just how good of an opportunity is that for her to kind of expand her game, expand her 15s game learning from sevens?
Yeah, no, I think it's huge. I think, as every coach, you get Giselle Mather's phone number come up on your phone. You're like, oh, right, who does she want? Because I like, as much as I want Ren to go and experience these things, I also want her to keep developing her 15s. But who am I to deny someone that opportunity? I think it's an amazing experience for her to go to GB7s. Just the caliber of players she's going to be rubbing shoulders with, like you say, that little bit more exposure in 15s, in sevens compared to 15s with her defence, which is an area that obviously she's earmarked that she wants to improve. And then obviously she can get all the attacks she wants. So I think it's great. I said to her, don't get too carried away. You'll be coming back to us next week, but I wanted you to go and enjoy it while you're there.
Perfect, Dave. Thank you. Hi, Jas. Just a couple of quick ones from me. Obviously, player of the week for the second week in a row. Must be quite happy with that.
I mean, yeah, to be honest, I don't know how I get them, but obviously with Bristol, we do have a lot of touches on the ball as back three. So like our carry stats are naturally going to be higher than some of the other teams. So yeah, I mean, proper chuffed. I think first 2 games I've played for Bears, I've got player of the round is pretty cool. So yeah.
And just kind of how much do you enjoy this style of play? You mentioned the kind of the backs getting lots of touches on the ball. Just how much do you enjoy it? And kind of you see it with a lot of the Bears backs playing with a smile on their face, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think the way we play is so good for back three, and it is a lot different to how a lot of the teams play and how international teams play as well. So it is, yeah, fun to be in. And I think the way we play sometimes, I think, stresses people out having to play out of our dead ball area or our 22. But sometimes we get away with it, sometimes we don't. And it's getting the balance of when do we play or when do we then exit some other way. So, but it is exciting. It's fun. Like, we do score some unreal tries, and hopefully it is a good game to watch. It's fun being out there.
And also you've got Millie and Reneeqa kind of at the beginning of their careers. Kind of you've got so much experience behind you. I'm not saying you're old, don't worry, but just
Don't take experience.
but just kind of how much have they been coming to you for advice? But how much can you learn off them? Kind of a fresh face and fresh look on things.
Both of them are actual jokes. Like, great people off the pitch as well. Like, we do have loads of fun together. They're both great cracks. Like, again, fun to be around. But honestly, well, obviously Millie is ridiculously fast and she just absolutely backs herself, which I love. And then obviously Ren, her goose step, I was actually saying earlier, is definitely one of the best goose steps I've ever seen. Definitely in the PWR at the moment. So yeah, no, it's like the energy they bring as well. Like, they're almost in a phase now of not caring, but they're new to the things. So they're going to try stuff out. They're going to trial and error it. And honestly, everything they do is pretty spot on. So yeah, I'm really excited to see them both go again, and hopefully soon, maybe Six Nations this year, or if not this year, in a couple of years to go, they'll definitely be in that England jersey, both of them.
Have you given Reneeqa any advice for going into the GB7s camp this week?
I haven't spoke to her highly, but she was in camp last week, and I said, "Oh, how did it go?" She was like, "Oh, so much running." So she's definitely getting used to it. But look, 7s and 15s, same with Millie. Like, they'll absolutely shine in a 7s jersey as well. So I'm really excited to see how Ren goes and what she can bring back to her as well, because it's only going to make her a better player, better person, getting in and around that environment as well.
Cheers, Robbie. So, Nathan, just first of all, congratulations. Just how does this kind of, obviously becoming a dad, how does that kind of change the schedule of your coaching the last couple of weeks, well, the last week or so far?
I've been very lucky. Like last week, obviously, Olivia decided to come join a bye week, so that was nice and easy. In terms of we had a reduced training week anyway last week. So the assistant coaches looked after sort of the day sessions, and then I came in the evening for sort of team meeting, team sessions. But I've been really lucky. The support staff, assistant coaches, Charlie, Matt, and S&C coach Adam's done, big job keeping the programme running during the day, which has allowed me to look after Sarah and Olivia, and then also giving me space to be able to go in on an evening last week and crack on with the day job.
And just kind of onto the rugby, just how key could that bye week have been, kind of giving the Lightning side a bit of rest heading into another big block of fixtures? Obviously, there's a week off, a whole league-wide the week next week. So just how key could that bye week have been?
Difficult to say. Like, it's one of those where, like, we're better for the week off in terms of we've trained, we've got, we've learned, some continuity. We've got playing together again. We've had an extra week to practice, but I don't know. It just feels a little bit stop-starty at the moment. Like, I thought we played really well against Quins, then you just want another game, really. And then we've got a week off training, which is really productive. Exit away, week off, and it just feels a little bit, disjointed at the moment. But it will be for everybody at some point in the year. It's just our period of time where it's just a little stop-start. But we've definitely got some productive work done last week. Sorry.
Yeah, and obviously quite a few of your side played for Bucks last week. Quite a few more playing today. Just how important is that Bucks pathway for you? Obviously, seeing these players develop. Obviously, Leah Green's played quite a lot of PWR, but stepping back in at Bucks.
Yeah, like Leah trains with Lightning the majority of the time, but she'll get the majority of the game time at the moment through Bucks. It's interesting. I had a phone call with her last night about it after training. Like, she was in all the leadership, the key positional meetings last night. In terms of, she was with Helena and Nelly within sort of game planning meetings, so she's getting that experience. But essentially, like, she's got Helena and Nelly to try and jump over to start, which isn't going to happen at the moment. So it's great that she can have that experience of playing in Bucks, but she's also got the experience of and the learning and development of training with a couple of the best players in the world. So it's imperative that we can provide the moments where younger players are talking, developing with the world-class players, but then also they can then go off on a Wednesday and show everyone at their age grade how good they are.
And just last one for me, obviously, Fran Goldthorp has come back into the Lightning setup. Just how impressive you been with her on a return, and just how good could she be for Lightning going forward?
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of Fran. I think she's just great person, great character to have in the group, and she's only going to get better and better, which she's showing. I think she's only on week 4 of being back, being a rugby union player now, and yeah, it's pretty impressive. So I can't speak highly enough of how she's integrated into the group, the character, and then also she's just a good person to have around. So yeah, I'm really happy with her.
Hi, Fran. Hope you're well. Just first of all, just how much you enjoying being back in the PWR and back playing 15s?
Yeah, it's been really exciting few weeks. I think I've really enjoyed coming back into the environment, and it's definitely improved from last time I was here. So I think it's great just to keep challenging myself and being in that environment and putting myself in the right position to grow as a player.
And just how did the move back to rugby union come from? Obviously, coming back from Australia, coming back from rugby league.
It was sort of always the plan. I got injured last year after the league season, so with it being such a big off season, it was just a long period of time to just be training by yourself. So it was always the plan to come back and play in the off season for me and just be around a team environment. I think that helps me train a lot better.
So is a goal to kind of go back to Australia, or is the 2025 Home World Cup on the horizon?
Yeah, right now that's the plan, is to go back to Australia, but again, don't really know what's going to happen in the next few months. So yeah.
Just kind of how much have you learned from playing over in Australia, and kind of how much have you brought over to the Lightning side at the moment?
I think it's just a lot less structured, so you're just playing eyes up rugby. I think that helps me to then obviously I love catching the high ball. I think that's part of my game, and then just the attacking threat that poses. So yeah, I think it's just being able to have the combinations and try and get in the fluidity in training, which has just been the massive challenge at the minute. But yeah, I think just having that attacking threat helps.
So first of all, just obviously coming off the back of that Gloucester game, just how proud of you kind of with that performance and kind of pushing the defending champion so close?
Obviously, being 7-7 at half was a big improvement over our previous week, and also just a big testament to how hard we've worked. Honestly, one of the best defensive games I've seen Sale play in years. Massive effort from 1 to 23, and especially as we had a few players out in the second half to really hold our own and kind of stand our ground.
Yeah, going off that, just our defense sometimes being down 2 players, so only having 13 girls out there was just massive, and we all had the fight for each other, so it was pretty cool to see.
There been any work on training with a man down, or player down this week?
I mean, a lot of our games are short-sided games anyway, so yeah, it's a perpetual work on for us.
And just how much confidence does that give you heading into Harlequins? Obviously, they've come off the back of the big result against Bristol, but how much confidence can you take into that game?
I think it was proof for us that we can stand toe-to-toe with what will likely be a top 4 team, and as long as we back ourselves and we put the effort in and back each other, we're every bit as deserving as any other team.
Yeah, I just wanted to quickly talk about Sophia Stefan at scrum half. Just how much of an impact does she make to that Sale team? Obviously, quality international, so much experience, but just how much can you learn from her, and how much drive and speed does she bring to a game?
Speed. There's a lot of speed on that pass. Yeah, I think now we can just bump out like a defender out just because she can get that pass out there. And it just gives us more options to play with. So it's been great having her here.
Yeah, it definitely improves the speed of play that we want to play, and allows us to play in spaces a little bit easier.
And just obviously Robin Wilkins at 10, kind of linking in with Bea Rigoni in the centres. Just how nice is that you kind of have that steady platform? Obviously, you two as front row don't experience it as much, but just kind of having that steady platform for the backs to play off.
I mean, I don't know about that. I do love a line off of Robin at 10. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, same.
It's my new favorite, actually. But it's nice the way that both Robin and Bea will step in and control the game and manage players and kind of organize us around them. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
And just kind of
Hopes that
obviously,
we live with them too.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I hope that we live with them too, so we get to go through practice film with them sometimes, so it's very good.
Are you two still in that big house there? Or is it how many is in there?
11 technically. 10 of us are in at the moment.
Okay. And just kind of how nice is it to kind of have that kind of team feel and kind of obviously Northern Rugby Matters is so big to the Sharks. Just how nice is it that kind of family feel and within the club at the moment?
I think it's massive. I think it's a big part of what keeps us going week in and week out. Obviously, some of the results aren't going our way. But that fight and that want for each other is what keeps us coming back in on the Monday, the Tuesday, and keep pushing ourselves forward.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what keeps you, obviously both American internationals, is that kind of what keeps you both at Sale and keeps you both at the club? Is that kind of how nice the club is and how nice the environment is?
Yeah, that's what I said to Michelle, I think it was last season, is her and the staff and the rest of Sale have made this a home away from home for us. So it doesn't feel like we're out of place. It doesn't feel like we don't belong. They've done well to bring us in and bring us along and, get us well acquainted with English customs and whatnot.
Yeah.
And obviously this is kind of the end of this first block of fixtures with the break next week, the league-wide break next week. Just kind of what would constitute a successful period for this coming off that Quins game?
I think if we just bring the same intensity that we did with Gloucester, obviously 7-7 at half, I think we were just pretty connected. I think if we just stay connected, stay like high intensity, always on that go forward, I think we'll be pretty proud of ourselves, and I think we'll get the result that we want.
Yeah, obviously, like I said, Gloucester was a massive defensive effort. We still had 13 attacking 22 entries, and we need to convert a few more of those. So that's our continual aim, is to continue to convert more and more attacking 22 opportunities, which is absolutely necessary against these higher ranked teams.
And obviously you see these younger players kind of coming in and stepping up nicely. Lucy Sam started a few games in a row now. Just how nice is it to see is kind of some of the more experienced players in the squad, seeing these players coming through and showing off and shining in the PWR.
Love it. I always just running after Lucy. I'm like, where is she gonna go? Yeah, it's kind of cool seeing these young ones come up and bringing just so much spunk on that field. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of running off Lucy Sam's shoulder, just watching the bodies fall and being ready for the support. But also Neve Swales out there making monster tackles on people 2-3 times her size, and Alba is putting in a shift every match. Our back three are all very young, and they have been covering a lot of ground and putting teams under a lot of pressure with their run and their kick, and really saved a lot of tackles. And we've put a lot of work towards them. We probably should do some more in the front to help them, but
And obviously you've got the big game coming up at the Salford Community Stadium, the double header with the men. Probably, I think it's less than a month away now. Just kind of how exciting is that, and kind of how much is that kind of on the horizon for the players, knowing that this big occasion's coming up and it's kind of a big day for the club?
I would say our first match where we did a double header at Haywood Road was a really great experience. It's nice to have all the fans out, have everybody there for both teams. And the environment is, Haywood Road is always electric, but it's even more electric when you have both teams and all the fans are coming together for both sides. And playing at the AJ Bell is always a treat. It's nice to get out there and a fun experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's just so cool to run onto that pitch. We do love Haywood Road, but love that field more than anything. But just to have like the big stadium feel and have all the fans there will be pretty cool, and it's pretty energizing.
It was finally kind of, obviously this short season's kind of built around heading into the World Cup next year. Just kind of how much excitement do you feel as two Americans, kind of both cap for the USA, just kind of how much excitement does it feel heading into a World Cup year just for yourselves and kind of the other Americans playing within the league?
I think a lot of big anticipation. Obviously, England has done well to sell out a lot of matches in the last couple of Six Nations rounds, and help build that and generate that support and that excitement around those matches. So I think it's going to be a huge showing and a huge testament to the growth of women's rugby to see these World Cup matches be full stadiums, thriving fan populace living their best life.
Yeah.
Seemed like a good word at the time.
And World Cup matches in Manchester as well. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, that's like the coolest part. Unfortunately, there's not a USA match in Manchester, which is really sad, but happy that our Scottish and Welsh girls get to experience a little home while they're here.